Hi, my name is Jerome Lawrence, and I'm currently a captain and assistant chief pilot with Republic Airways for a LaGuardia-based operation. I'm from the Caribbean, born and raised in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. As an assistant chief pilot, I'm responsible for the daily duties and communicating with our pilots throughout the day. Whatever concerns that they may have or whatever communication issues or administrative issues that they may have, I am there to assist them in resolving those problems. As a captain, along with my crew members, we are responsible for the safe outcome of any flight that we are a part of. Here at Republic Airways, we are one of the largest operators of the Embraer 175 aircraft. We fly over 1,000 flights a day to over 100 cities within the United States, Central America, and the Caribbean. Picking a career path was relatively easy for me. From a child, my parents said I always just wanted to fly. I was so fascinated with airports and airplanes and how they work. I had so many questions. So it was relatively easy for my parents to push me in a certain direction. They didn't have to do a lot of work to get me to where I wanted to be. Growing up, I would drag my mom to the Air and Space Museum that we have here in Maryland. We'll go every summer, and I'll take a notepad and I'll take notes. That's how driven that I was to ensure that became my dream, essentially. In high school, I made sure that I did sciences. I did physics, chemistry, geography, all the sciences that you can name, mathematics, because I thought at the time that you needed to have all this background knowledge to become a pilot. However, pilot school teaches you everything that you need to know. The additional information that you know or that you learn in high school is great, but the flight schools teach you everything that you need to know. In terms of jobs that I did that, weren't necessarily aviation related, I was in construction. I was straight out of high school. I would go work construction. We were developing a new industrial complex in my island of Tobago. And I was there working and pouring cement on the ground. That did teach me endurance and perseverance. It taught me how to be a stronger individual because it does take a lot of time and patience to do that job. After the construction job, I became a pilot in Trinidad and Tobago. So I started my training as a pilot in Trinidad and Tobago. I got my private pilot certificate back home in Trinidad, and then I finally moved to the United States to further that education. My mom was the one that really pushed me in the direction of getting a college degree. Her thought process behind it was, if something is to happen to you in terms of flying and you can't fly anymore, at least you have some sort of educational background so you can fall back onto something in the event that this flying thing does not work out. At the time, I did not agree with her at all. I just wanted to be a pilot, just go be the best pilot that the world can possibly have. And to this day, I don't regret my mom sending me to college. I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida, where I attained my bachelor's in aviation maintenance science with a concentration in flight. Currently pursuing my master's in human factors, specifically in systems engineering, where that talks about how the human interacts with the aircraft specifically. So my mom really and truly I have pushed me from a direction of no college at all to getting my master's. So I do recommend that if you're interested in a career field that requires some sort of technical skill, do go to college and get that degree. It will help you propel yourself just a little bit further. After college, I was lucky enough to have an internship, a flying internship with Cape Air. They're based up in the Northeast in Hyannis. I was lucky I was a first officer for them while I was also interning with them doing maintenance. I had the ability to fly up there in the Northeast during the winter, and I also had the opportunity to reposition some of the aircraft from the Caribbean all the way back up to the Northeast. Some of the best flying that I've had prior to the airline world. This was my first step into the airline world as they were considered an airline. After that, I went back to Daytona Beach where I became a flight instructor. After the flight instructing, I was lucky and blessed to be hired by Republic Airlines. I initially started as a first officer and then I moved up the ranks again to become a captain. And here I am finally as an assistant chief pilot here at Republic. Republic, with their opportunity elevated, they give you the necessary tools and the education and the opportunity to become the best version of yourself. So an interesting story, right? While becoming a pilot or training to become a pilot, I would get sick on every step of the way. Initially, while I was training back in Trinidad and Tobago, every flight I would be throwing up, I would be nauseous, I would have motion sickness, and to a point I thought, I was not going to make it. I really thought I was not going to become a pilot. I finally passed that training, moved up to Daytona Beach, where I went to Amarillo, started to become a pilot again, and did my instrument rating and did my commercial rating. And I struggled through my commercial rating. I still was throwing up. I would be vomiting almost every flight. And it became to a point where I started to doubt myself. I started to doubt my potential. I started to doubt my abilities. I started to doubt, am I actually going to make this? Am I actually going to become a pilot? And I had to convince myself that this was meant for me. Dedication and perseverance to a cause are imperative, important to you making it to whatever your dreams are, to whatever you decide to take your career path. You have to be dedicated to the cause and give 100% to your cause. And that's what I did, and here I am today. It goes to show that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it too. Tips for landing a job. Nerves are going to be a part of the process, whether you did 10 interviews before, you've never done an interview before. It's just part of the process. And especially if it's a job that you really want, you are going to be nervous. I would recommend, if you're getting into the aviation industry, there are many online prep resources that you can utilize that would help you build a little bit more confidence in yourself. Interviews are mostly about you specifically. We're just here to try to get to know you a little bit better, understand, your thought processes and your principles, and just ask a couple questions just about, who you are and, and what are your goals. Some of the questions that we do ask are situational questions. So it's tell me about a time this happened to you, what happened, why did it happen, and what was the solution to it. Those are typical HR questions that you would have to answer. My recommendation is, if you are going through life every day, something happens to you every day, write that down. Write that down, write that situation down, so that when you are asked the question, tell me about a time something difficult happened to you and how did you work through it, you have a situation right there ready and available for you to answer. What do I look for when I'm doing interviews? I look for confidence. A nice firm handshake. Look me in the eyes and say, hi, good morning, my name is. That first interaction sets the tone for how that interview goes. Now, we are aware that nerves happen and you are going to be nervous and sometimes your hands may be shaking, but that is all part of the process. Just let it happen, and as the interview goes on, you will build that confidence and you start to answer questions better. I would suggest, when hunting for jobs or when job searching, have more than one option. And then as you go through and you filter out, click every job that you think that you qualify for. Click for it, and then as you're going through it, you're going to see which job you prefer, and you're going to have your top 5 choices. And now the biggest thing that I would say to you is that rejection is also a part of the process. You are going to be rejected at some point, and that is okay. You have to understand in your mind that rejection is a part of it, and you are going to be rejected at some point. So you have to now condition your mind that when that rejection does come, you're okay with that. I went to a conference one time while I was in college as part of a McNair Scholars Program. And the guest speaker at the time, he had his PhD. And he said when he was applying for jobs to, get his career back on track, he applied to over 10 jobs. And, in his mind, he has a PhD, and he thought he qualified for all those jobs. He got 10 rejection letters. All of them did not want him at the time. And he had to tell himself, this is just a part of it, because I know I'm going to be okay. And here he was speaking to us as a motivational speaker now. He's a well-recognized man across the industry now, where he goes around and continues giving these motivational talks to inspire young people, saying that rejection is okay. Keep pushing through and you are going to get there. The third part of this process is keeping that job and building that career that you got from that job. I think it's important to be accountable, to be responsible, and to be respectful while you're in this industry. Building that excellent work ethic is of paramount importance. When your name shows up in any meeting or on a document, people must recognize that this person is responsible, this person is accountable, and this person is very respectful, and they must enjoy working with you. And that comes from you exuding that confidence in yourself and in your quality and in your brand. You as a person, you are a brand. And you have to think as well that big brand names, they do what is necessary to maintain that brand. You are a brand and you need to invest in that brand. So things like reading books on how to be a better leader, reading books on how to develop your skill or improving your skill every day are big factors in maintaining that brand and building your career. In aviation, it's a lot easier for us. We have to go to yearly reviews. We have to keep updated with manuals and new procedures. So it's a little bit easier for us in the aviation industry to stay akin of what we need to do. But that does not stop there. As a pilot, you still need to, there are many, still need to read. There are many changes that happens across the industry that you need to be aware of that your company might not have gotten to yet. So by you always staying a step ahead, you're always going to be ahead of the competition, and you're always going to be a more marketable resource for any company that you are a part of. A typical work day for me as a chief pilot is that I go into the office and usually respond to emails. I have become a mediator between the company and the pilots, and just answering questions and to help improve the lifestyle and the quality of life of our pilots is my main duty as a captain. When I'm out on the line, it's a wonderful experience. There is nothing better than living your dream, and Republic has allowed me to fulfill that dream. Flying, as I said, has been my dream, has been my goal, it's been my destination. And now that I'm here, I enjoy every second of the day. Now, what would I tell myself? What would I tell my younger self when I was in high school? I would look back to myself, put my hand on my shoulder and say, "You're going to be okay." Because at the time when you're going through tough times and things are looking bleak, it's very easy to say, you know what, this is not for me. I'm going to give up. I'm going to give in. It's very easy. But I want to tell you that you are going to make it. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to have that belief in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So my words of wisdom is belief, confidence. Exude that confidence that is inside of you. Continue developing, continue growing, and you're gonna make it. You're gonna be the best doctor that there is. You're gonna be the best athlete that it is. Whatever your career path that you choose, or that life chooses for you, ensure that you do it to the best of your ability. Give 110% every single time. And looking back on life now, where I thought things were hard, I would tell myself, you are going to be okay.